to Prove It or Lose It, Literacy and Language Edition. On today's episode, we have 3 contestants fighting to prove that their environment is the most influential to promote literacy and language for emergent readers. Now, let's meet our contestants.
First, we have Dani, representing Home Environments. Give her a round of applause. Next up is Hannah, representing the School Environment. Let's hear it for Hannah. Our last contestant is Emma, representing Conversational Environments that can happen anywhere at any time. One last round of applause for Emma.
Okay, let's get started. Rules of the game are each contestant gets 4 minutes to plead their case and show evidence to the viewers about their environments. After that, voting will commence. Get those phones ready. Here's our first contestant, Dani, speaking about home environments and why they are important. Where does the first source of learning take place for children? Exactly, right at home. A child's home is the very first environment that they become familiar with and engage in learning experiences. It is not just where they take their first steps, say their first words, or learn to be potty trained. The home environment also acts as the child's very first and most influential environment for experiences in literacy and language learning. But don't just take my word for it. Let's talk about someone who has studied child development for years. We have all heard of the name Bronfenbrenner. Yes, the famous theorist from the Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems theory. His theory is a model of environments that have an effect on a child's development. Each system has a different relation and importance to the child. The closest and most influential system in the child's life is called the microsystem. And can you guess where the home environment is located? That's right, in the microsystem. According to Bronfenbrenner, literacy practices in the home, such as interactive read-alouds, have been shown to enhance reading comprehension because it requires students to engage in meaning construction. It is essential that parents or guardians create a literacy-rich environment for the children in their home. A study done by author Salinskas and colleagues showed that home teaching and reading during the preschool years is predicted to enhance children's emergent literacy in primary school. Some of the literacy skills that they would acquire through home teaching would include letter knowledge and word reading fluency. Benefits of active engagement in shared reading include gains in vocabulary, oral language production, and oral language complexity. Through print exposure, children develop phonemic awareness, print, concepts, reading strategies, and background knowledge. Involving parents in a child's literacy development at home has been identified as one of the most effective supports for children's academic success. It is important that students receive effective and meaningful literacy activities at home. At the preschool age, children are interested in doing activities with their parents. So if their parents can engage in some type of literacy activity with the children, then they are benefiting from it. Reading at home can be a child-initiated active process if they become familiar with it. Self-motivation and pleasure in reading is a base for developing literacy skills. This means that parents need to introduce reading to their children early on so that they can become more motivated to read often, whether that is on their own or guided by an adult. Teachers even notice that students' reading behavior changes when they are in literacy-taught homes. Teachers expect that children bring background knowledge gained from reading and literacy activities at home. So what types of activities or items should be included in the home environment? It does not have to be too hard. Include letters, writing, words, and books around your home for children to see and engage with every day. These are all ways to have children engage in literacy experiences on their own. But we learned that parental involvement in the home is extremely important. So what are the ways that the parents can get involved? Picture walks tend to have a bad rep. But when they are used at home, they can be a positive experience that helps motivate children. This is because they draw students in and entice them to actually listen to the full story. Children's literacy at home can also be promoted by picking the right books to fill their library with. Parents should choose books that have exciting content to keep them engaged, enticing visuals to stimulate their imaginations, and are at a good reading level so they do not get too discouraged because the reading is too challenging. It is also beneficial when reading books for the parents to ask detailed cue questions, critical thinking questions, vocabulary questions, inference questions, and personalization questions to build up that comprehension. The most influential and probably easiest activity for at-home literacy is frequent reading. because reading at school is not enough for children to become successful in literacy and language schools. It all starts and is promoted in the home environment, and that is why you should put your vote on me. Next we have Hannah. She is going to tell us why she believes school environments have the biggest influence.
When you think of learning, where's the first place you think of? Yeah, that's right. It's not your home, it's a school. When you think of education, you immediately think of a classroom full of students and desks learning from a teacher. To start off, classrooms are able to provide a literacy-rich 21st century environment like no other. This is an environment full of tools in order to help students develop the necessary skills to be successful in their future workplaces. It also properly equips students for their life outside of school, both professionally and socially in their day-to-day lives. This can range from the layout of the classroom to a small teacher work area to readily available technology, and finally, a literacy-rich environment. To prove my stance of why the school environment is the most effective in literacy instruction, I'm going to focus on the most important aspects of the classroom that engage students. According to the article, Key Design Elements of a Literacy-Rich 21st Century Classroom, a classroom should be set up in a way where students should be able to navigate around and use it independently. The classroom should also contain a multitude of books that are organized in bins or containers by level. This way, students can find a book that is at their reading level. This is a huge part of why the school environment is the most effective in a student's educational literacy. The students are able to explore on their own what books and materials they want to read, which is crucial in their literacy and language development. This could pique a child's interest and cause them to invest more and more time in reading, therefore enhancing their literacy abilities. They constantly have the opportunity to make themselves better readers, which, if you ask me, is irreplaceable. Also in the article, Why is Literacy Environment Important? It explains how students work better and therefore absorb more information when they are able to work in groups or with partners. In the same article, it talks about the different effective ways to pair up and group students for work in order for them to learn to their full potential. The most effective research-based grouping practices are whole group instruction in small groups, whole group instruction and individual work, and whole group instruction and paired grouping. Through working with peers and or groups of peers, students are able to bounce ideas off each other and collaborate on their assignments. It also goes on to talk about the same ability grouping. In my opinion, this type of grouping would be crucial to literacy development because it allows students to work together with someone who functions and reads at the same level as them, which could also give them more confidence. Another way students could be grouped is pairing students with a low literacy level with students at a high literacy level. This allows the students who are lower level to get help and possibly learn from the higher students who might have a better literacy understanding. This is important in proving that the classroom environment is the most effective environment for literacy learning because at home or in a conversational environment, a student doesn't have access to their peers to learn with and from. They wouldn't have the same literacy opportunities as they do in the classroom with other students with the same goals. So, when you're placing your vote, remember all of these reasons that prove that students' literacy learning is developed more in the classroom than in any other environment.
Our final contestant, Emma, is going to share why she thinks conversational environments are the most important.
While my competition has focused on physical locations, I want to discuss an environment we can all create wherever we are. An environment is defined as the circumstances, objects, and conditions in which one is surrounded. So school and home are objects and conditions by which we're surrounded, but the circumstances are things that we can make occur. A conversational environment is what us adults can do to work on to achieve a safe and developmentally sound place for children to expand and nurture their language and literacy skills. Because children's language skills begin when they're treated as conversational partners, it is important to be a positive influence on this when speaking and around children. We can play a large role in their literacy and language development. Two ways we can support children's development is through daily routines and rituals and educating ourselves on how to create better conversational environments for our children. Incorporating language support and practice in a daily routine consists of explaining actions, describing actions, interpreting actions, and incorporating children into conversations and asking for their participation. The article, Routines That Build Emergent Literacy Skills in Infants, Toddlers, and Preschoolers, published in the Early Childhood Education Journal, gives in-depth daily rituals that can be improved by talking more and adding in more communication between you and the child. 3 good examples are, in places like the grocery store, chit-chatting, explaining the aisles, what's on your list, what aisle you're going down next, what you're going to buy. On the playground, when you're talking about what they can do on each piece of equipment, or who's in the park with them, or what you saw on the way there. Similarly, in the car, you can talk about where you're going, where you've been, and what they see on the outside. Questions about past experiences, new connections, or explaining why greatly impact a child's development and ability to comprehend and then provide narratives later on. This is an easy way adults can help children each time we speak and interact with them, creating safe and improved conversational environments. Speaking of asking children questions and developing their skills, another way is to encourage feeling, thinking, and talking intervention. It's a language support strategy. This includes asking students how they're feeling, asking them to reflect, and then to participate with you in a discussion. After a year of this intervention, students showed greater progress in application of morphological rules, understanding of sentences, and memory of sentences of various capacities. Other language support strategies are important to present information to children, elicit conversation, and supply them with feedback. Some ways to do this are parallel talk, varying questions, and repeating their ideas back to them. These seemingly simple ways to create encouraging and developmentally sound environments show that day-to-day interactions and the circumstances of the environment are most important to our children's language and literacy development. Not only is it the most influential, but also the most able to influence more children in any physical setting at any time with anyone.
We have heard from all three of our contestants. Now is your time to vote. But before we announce the winner, we have a short commercial break.
Hi, I'm Emma McLaughlin, and I'm advocating on behalf of college students in America today. 1 in 4 college students will skip a meal this week and spend that money on coffee instead. 75% of college students will go without a single fruit or vegetable this week. We are asking you for help. If you sign up using the link below in the next 30 minutes, you will receive a yearly calendar, free admission to sports events at the following colleges, and a personal thank you from the students that you're supporting. Let's get them the nutrients they need and deserve.
And we're back. The people at home have been voting. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, voting is closed and the results are in.
I can't believe it. It's a three-way tie. All environments hold an important place for students to grow and promote their literacy and language development.
Thanks for watching, and join us next week for a new episode of Prove It or Lose It.
But before we go, let's hear from our contestants one last time. I am grateful for the opportunity to be here and to represent the home environment that promotes literacy and language learning. Although I'm upset that I did not win, I will give it to my competition for putting up such a tough battle. Just remember that the home environment is the first source of literacy learning for children. It is important and easy for parents to get involved at home and make an impact on their child's literacy and language success. Thanks to those who voted for me.
So grateful for the chance to defend my opinion on why the classroom literacy environment is the most important for students, but I had to agree with the results. Even though I came on to Prove It or Lose It with my mind made up, my contestants helped me see why every environment we discuss is influential. But to give my position one final nod, don't forget that the classroom literacy environment is a crucial piece for students' language and literacy development because it gives students the chance to explore their abilities both on their own and with their peers. Thank you for your votes.
Privileged to compete on Prove It or Lose It today with my fellow competitors. I've been blessed to represent conversational environments, and I'm super surprised that we ended in a tie. Next time I'll just have to try harder to get that win. But as for today, just remember at every instance, in any situation or circumstance, you have the power as an adult to help your student or help your child further their development in language and literacy by asking open-ended questions, parallel talk, discussing feelings, reflecting, and having genuine conversations with your children. Thank you.